If you think you've seen what music biopics can be, then you've seen absolutely nothing yet. Well, I mean, you probably have. That's why this is kind of like a spoof of those. So Weird, the Al Yankovic Story is a Roku Channel original movie, and we'll talk about Roku eventually, but I guess I'll start off by saying I am a big Weird Al fan. I bought this Hawaiian shirt just for this review because I can't believe I haven't owned any Hawaiian shirts since about middle school. And, Weird Al has always kind of been a fun part of, my life. I've seen him in concert, I've seen his movies, I've seen his his cameos and stuff. I've heard all his music. Weird Al is just one of the most fun, just problemless. Like, he's got no drama to his story. So that's why when they were talking about doing a biopic of his life, I was like, you know what? I would be kind of into it because I know his life didn't have like big controversy in it. And I thought it would be very interesting to just see what was his life kind of like. It would be really interesting to tell the true story of Al Yankovic. And so when they announced Daniel Radcliffe to be Weird Al, I was like, odd casting choice. I try not to judge a cat, who's cast in a role, just because they don't look exactly like the person they're to be portraying doesn't mean they can't, embody that spirit. And I was like, you know what? I'll give this the benefit of the doubt. Daniel Radcliffe probably embodied the spirit of Weird Al, and I'm okay with that. And then the trailers started coming out, and I was very confused as to what the tone and what kind of they were really doing. And about 30 seconds into like their main trailer, I remember going, oh, so they're doing like a parody of a biopic movie. This makes so much more sense now. And once you get behind that, this movie is so much fun. I had so much fun watching it. As a diehard Weird Al fan, there's so much good stuff in there, and I think everybody's gonna eat it up. Get it? There's a song that Weird Al did. It's great. You guys listen to it. It's fun, and the music video is also just super fantastic. But so I think in terms of spoofing your typical, music biopics, this just it goes all out. I think the first half is definitely stronger than the second half, but I do also think that this movie is carried by Daniel Radcliffe, who gives a nice fun performance. It is cool seeing him be Al, and how all the actors actually play it so straight, and all the craziness that kind of goes on around everything, and just how they kind of play up certain things that did happen in Al's life and some stuff that didn't really happen in Al's life. But it's just fun to kind of play around with that biopic format, because you kind of know the tropes of a lot of these music biopics we get now are of people who don't even, who aren't even alive anymore. And to have Weird Al actually be around kind of makes what happens in this film a little funnier. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it definitely goes some places that are ridiculous and, should have been expected from the get-go with a Weird Al involved movie. Daniel Radcliffe, like I said, he nails it. He is just so much fun in this role. He's having a great time. I know they didn't film this for too long. It was only like a 2 or 3 week shoot. I want to say it was like 18 days that they shot this movie in, which is crazy just in movie making standards, but I think it turned out pretty good. Then you have like Evan Rachel Wood, who comes in and plays Madonna in the movie. She's kind of the foil. She's kind of the bad guy, if you will, of the story, which is actually really interesting because I think in real life, Al and Madonna's relationship was very limited, and I think even if you go looking up Weird Al Madonna's relationship on Google now, you're gonna see a lot of people curious about it because of what this movie did, and it's a lot of fun. And then you also have Rainn Wilson, of course, from The Office, playing Dr. Demento, a real figure in Al's life and in the music world. He is a lot of fun in this film too, and I guess he didn't get asked to be in the movie till like the day before they started shooting, because Patton Oswalt was supposed to play him, and then something happened, and so Rainn Wilson had to step in. So whatever, I think it was a great choice. Patton Oswalt does make a cameo in here. Speaking of cameos, there's so many cameos, guys. Like, some I even missed looking up, the IMDb sheet of who was in this film. So many cameos. Won't spoil any of them, but trust me, there are people in this film that you're going to be like left and right recognizing. It's so much fun. It's really good. So I think playing it straight was the right way to go. I think having them be very serious, like the subject matter is serious and it's dramatic, but it's so silly. And we all know that Weird Al's life was not this chaotic and drama filled. And they go some places in the second half of the movie that I was into. It was funny, but I don't know if it really. I won't say it didn't really fit in kind of that music biopic genre. It did really go a little further than I think it probably should have, but whatever. It was still funny. I still enjoyed it. I was still laughing. I would even laugh at stuff that wasn't even like happening yet. I could kind of sense that something was being set up, and I would just immediately started laughing. I think this film was funny, and it was infectious from the get-go to me. And so, not everybody's going to have that same experience. I know, like, my dad watched it. My dad's just as big, if not a bigger, Weird Al fan than I am. And he definitely thought some parts were slow. I talked to him about it, and, it is what it is. It's going to hit people differently. So if you're not a big Weird Al fan, I don't know if this will be up your alley, but I do think you can still get some good laughs out of it. I think it's at least worth the watch. And so that brings me to the Roku Channel app itself. Not on Apple TV, not on my iPhone. I had to literally use like a Samsung TV to watch it, which is fine. And I was wondering the whole time, like, okay, so they made this movie for millions of dollars probably. I don't know what the budget on it exactly was. But they made this movie and they're putting it on a free streaming app, which is, it's free. You don't have to sign up or anything. You could just go to the Roku Channel and just watch it. It's actually a really cool thing they did. But I was like, how are they getting anything back from this? It's not like it was released in theaters wide, so they're not making like a bunch of cash back. How are they going to make money off of this? It didn't make any sense. And then you start playing the movie, and the way the movie is edited, it is edited like you watch a movie on TV, where like it kind of like that does that fade to black, and then they play some commercials. That's essentially what happened with my experience watching this. It'd be like you'd get 20 minutes in, and then you'd get like a couple minutes of ads. And then it's back into the movies, and then there were like 3 or 4 ad breaks during the movie, and it kind of sucked because I really just wanted to stay immersed and just keep going with the movie, but it did kind of harken back to kind of watching a TV movie, and it would fade out, and you'd think you'd missed like a few seconds of the movie, and I think we did because of these ad breaks, but whatever. I still had fun. I still enjoyed it. I think a lot of people will enjoy this. It's getting a lot of great reviews. I don't think it'll win any awards. It's not going to change the game, but I think if you're just looking for a good film to just sit down to, have a fun time, not take it too seriously, this is that movie. Get a bunch of friends, get with your family, and just sit down and watch it. I think it's fun, and that's all it needed to be, and that's what Weird Al is. Like, he's just a fun dude, and he helped make a fun movie. So yeah, guys, in the end here, I'm gonna give Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, a solid B. Yeah, I mean, again, not great, but it was still fun enough, and I think it had a lot of good stuff in it that it warrants a very solid grade, and it is definitely worth your guys' time. Fun story, though, the guy who directed the movie, Eric Appel, or Appel, I'm not sure how you say his last name, he's the one who actually directed the Funny or Die short about 9 or 10 years ago, when they kind of parodied, like, what would a dramatic, gritty, Weird Al biopic movie be? And this was 10 years ago, so this movie has been 10 years in the making, and they finally got around to doing it in actuality. And I think if you go back and watch that, you can see a lot of the elements that definitely made it into this, and they still work. Even that short's still great. This movie's a lot of fun, so they totally nailed the tone. They nailed everything, I think, about it. So maybe some pacing issues here and there. The front half better than the back half, but that's fine. And it did kind of end a little abruptly for me, which is also fine. And then make sure you actually stick through the credits. This is weird. There's not really a post-credit scene, but they do some fun stuff with the credits, and I think you should stick around. So when you're sitting there, just listen to the music as the credits roll, because they all work together. I thought that part was really charming and great. So that's it, guys. That is Weird, the Al Yankovic Story on the Roku Channel. So find it however you can and watch it, because I think it's worth your time. All right, guys, and that'll be it for this week. Remember, please hit that like button. If you could hit the subscribe button and then the little bell notification, be notified whenever I drop new videos. I greatly appreciate it. Man, I'm so glad November's ramping up to be a great month for movies. And we got like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever next week. I'm super excited about that, which is when I'll see you guys again. And until next time, go watch this movie and get a Hawaiian shirt.